Hi, in this video today I would like to show you a workflow that I like because it's gonna help you send leads on autopilot to your outbound campaign. And this is using basically Sales Navigator, Vayne's API, and also the popular automation platform n8n.io. So as most of you know, in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can save the searches you make to retrieve them later, but also to show new results, the new people that have joined the search or basically that have been including in your search result since you last visited the search and have seen all the filters. This can be done here. You click on save search, and here it's gonna say, you see, if I click on the main link, it's gonna say like there is about 1,000 results in my search, but there's one new person that have been added to the search since I last viewed it probably yesterday. And again, this is available for all of these, all of the search in my account. So this is an opportunity because it means you can collect every week the people that have been added to the search that are matching your ICP and the various ICP of your campaigns. And if you are running an agency, it also means you can collect leads for all the campaigns of all your customers on a weekly basis. So it's going to save you a lot of time. And so this being said, let's jump to the workflow. So all you need for the workflow is this URL here with the Save Search ID and one very important parameter that you may not be familiar with, which is the last view at, which is here, this number. It's actually a timestamp for the last time you have viewed the search, and this is going to determine how many people are shown in the new result. The workflow is in two parts, and basically what you want to start with is a schedule. You want to have it like scheduled to trigger, for example, every Monday morning. You then want to deduct sometimes, to change the current day, the current Monday to the last week. So we are going to try to retrieve all the people since you last used the workflow. So don't use today's date. You want to deduct a number of days to access the last week. So here I just put 1 for the demo, but you should put 7. And of course, I choose to do it every week, but you can do that every day. Here is, let's say, the most complicated part of the workflow, I would say, because you may not be familiar with it yet, which is again to transform the dates so that we have changed in the current week minus 7 days, and to transform it into this code that we have seen in the Sales Navigator URL. So the good part here is you can generate this step very easily with Claude or with ChatGPT. I will show you how, but basically it's just a little piece of code that's going to change the timestamp into the number we need. Then I would recommend that you use one of our endpoints that's going to allow you to check if your Sales Navigator account is still connected to Vayne. So you can do this step. If it's still active, you can create the order. We'll see how. And if not, you can send a notification to your Slack to tell you that you should update your session cookie if you want to be able to run your workflow properly. Basically, if the account is active, we can create the order here. This is using our API. And as you can see a bit below, I have recreated the Sales Navigator URL of the search ID. So this here includes the ID you got from LinkedIn. And the parameter you want to change is this, the last viewed at, and you want to use the number you have generated at this step. So again, in my example, the idea would be every Monday, you try to scrape people that you have that have been added to the list in the last 7 days. Sorry, I forgot to mention one aspect, because this workflow would be in 2 steps. One of the things you want to do after that is you want to add here in the fields called secondary webhook, you want to add another webhook, also from n8n, where the value, the data will be pushed once the scraping is done. So you don't need to check for the scraping to be done or check if your order is ready. This will be automated for you. Again, the idea is to try to push data on autopilot to your campaigns. I have added the last step here also, which is a notification to our Slack account just to show that the work was successful. So now the second part of this process requires another n8n workflow. It started here with a webhook step, which is exactly the one where you decided to push the results of your scrapping order. So you don't have to worry again when the order is going to be finished. When it's done, the data will be pushed here. You just need to use a first step to download the CSV file from AWS, and this specific step here to extract the data from the file. Once it's done, from here you can do a lot of things. The main part of the workflow here, I've chosen to enrich the contacts so we can look in more details with the data we got. I choose to enrich the contact with the professional email address using job contact, but you can use any provider that has an integration with n8n. And basically here you just need to input the same field you would input in their platform. I just need to wait once it's done because it takes a few seconds for them to try to figure out the address. And once it's done, I just need to go back here. You see, get the address of Cindy, and then basically I can push it to any of my campaign, for example in Lemlist, which has an integration with n8n. If you don't want to do something a little more complex, there's other options that you can add to this workflow to make it match exactly your process. For example, you can add here a filter step to decide if you want to push the people to your campaigns or no. As you know, Vayne is trying to check if the results returned by Sales Navigator are actually matching your initial query. And now we even tell you if the results are not matching, we tell you which of the filters are not matching your initial query. For example, here, the industry may not be exactly what I chose. And you can build here this filter to say, okay, if the filter is not a match, and you can decide to check if the industry is not the right one. Maybe I want to filter it out, or maybe I'm fine if it's not the right industry. But if the job title is not exactly what I wanted, then I will filter it out. Once you have filtered the data, you can decide again to send it back to an email enrichment platform like Job Contact to Lemlist. You can also try to push it to a campaign directly in LinkedIn using a platform like HeyReach, which is also included in n8n's options. If you want to do something fancier, you can even connect an AI agent to the workflow. You can use this agent, for example, to figure out if the prospect is exactly in your ICP. So not just filtering by industry or the job title exactly, but using the complete job description or the company description and try to figure out if you should send it to the campaign or not, or even reroute the prospect between different campaigns, depending on which of your ICP they exactly match. It takes only a few minutes. It's gonna save you hours every week. You don't have to go on Sales Nav and scrap. It's gonna push data to your campaign and to your customer campaign if you are running an agency every week, every day, depending on how often you want to run it. It's actually quite easy to set up, like I say. You can go on the Vayne API documentation page. If you have access to our API, it's included starting from the starter plan. And here you can actually just copy all the specification to use it in Claude or ChatGPT, whichever solution you favor. As you know, you can ask Claude to build the n8n workflow directly for you. So even if you're not an expert, it's very easy to get it going. You just need to specify that you want the result to be returned as a JSON, so you can copy and paste it directly into the editor and it will build the workflow automatically. You just need to specify your instruction and copy the Vayne API documentation. You can add, of course, the documentation of every other API you are using, and this is going to build the initial workflow for you. You can then customize it to exactly fit your needs. So let's go, guys. Now you can see that it's very easy to get started with this workflow and put your lead generation on autopilot.